Greetings, free thinkers. Welcome to the Hoggcast. How are we doing today? I hope you're doing fine. I certainly am. Okay, what do we have for you on today's episode? We have for you another TikTok expert explaining, or at least trying to explain to the world, particularly those who are impressionable, the type of people who actually concentrate on TikTok. You see, this is why you see so many of them teacher videos and propaganda videos and ideologically driven videos on TikTok. Because TikTok is a younger person's platform. It's where a lot of younger people congregate. Goes to show you the insidious nature of the woke brigade. Okay, you notice how they always turn up wherever the young and impressionable are. You notice that, whether it's schools or TikTok, and it just continues down the line, conforming to a pattern. So we're going to be told by this, as you can see by the title she put up there, we're going to be told that psychology is rooted in supremacy. It's going to be word salad. So this is an advance warning to you. What she's got to say is word salad. It means nothing, really. But this is the type of stuff that our next generation, your next generation, is falling susceptible to. So I want to show you it. So let's get into this video now. But if you haven't yet, please like the video if you find it informative. Subscribe to the Hoggcast, hit the notification bell, and share this video around. We do now have a membership scheme where you can become a member of either the Coffee Club or the Gold Club and support the Hoggcast. We are the underdog. We are conservative commentators. Okay, let's go. Okay, so we're going to listen to Dr. Bubblehead talk for 54 seconds. She's going to say a lot without really saying anything. And then after that, we'll go back again. We will play it again, and I will stop it intermittently to make the points that I feel I need to make.
Here's how Western psychology is rooted in white supremacy. Part 1. First, who does psychology study? The majority of psych subjects are white, middle-class, elite American undergrads. These results are then exported to the rest of the world and used to guide what healthy and good emotional functioning looks like. Next, we have a tendency to base ideas of health on Western ideals of self. These are individualistic rather than collectivist and heavily self-reliant. As a result, we tend to pathologize interdependent ways of relating, calling families who are super close enmeshed or codependent. We tend to overlook contextual factors, such as the fact that marginalized populations live in oppressive systems, which absolutely affect their mental health and functioning. Follow for part 2 and more content on decolonizing mental health.
Oh, well, I can't wait for that. What fantastic knowledge. So let's go back, we'll watch again, and I'll stop it intermittently to make the points that I feel I need to make.
Psychology is rooted in white supremacy. Part 1. First, who does psychology study? The majority of psych subjects are white, middle-class, elite American undergrads.
See, and you're basing that on what? What are you basing that on? Show me the stats. Show me the statistics. Are you suggesting that psychology doesn't exist in, for example, Asia, in South America, for example? You're into psychology yourself, by the looks of things, and you're Asian. You are a contradiction in terms. You are an embodiment of the word contradiction. In real life, you're a manifestation of it.
These results are then exported to the rest of the world and used to guide what healthy and good emotional functioning looks like.
First of all, I would say to that, for countless years, the Chinese led the way in terms of civilization. This is going back, of course, many thousands of years. But then again, hey, isn't history something that you leftists like to bring up time and time again? So let's bring it up. The Persians led for many years. There have been countless different cultures over time, the Babylonians, that led, and they exported good ideas out to the other parts of the world. That's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing to export ideas out. Now, today, of course, there are parts of the world that have taken a hit. For example, ivory poaching. Ivory poaching occurs because in many parts of China, there is a belief that the ground up bones can be used in Chinese herbal remedies. You notice how the grinding up of ivory and Chinese herbal remedies does not get spread out around the world. There's a reason for that, and it's got nothing to do with supremacy. Okay, nothing to do with it at all. If an idea is good, it will be exported. It will be adopted with gusto. It won't be forced onto other people from other cultures, other parts of the world. People will readily absorb it if it's a good idea. Okay, so when you say psychology, I'm sure you're talking about the health sciences. Okay, if it's a good idea, if it's something that's beneficial, others will adopt it, and it has nothing to do with, oh well, it's mere supremacy.
Next, we have a tendency to base ideas of health on Western ideals of self. These are individualistic rather than collectivist and heavily self-reliant.
Good. They should be individualistic. They should be. This is at the heart of the difference between conservatives, like myself, who believe in the free market, who believe in freedom and individual liberties, and wokeists, like this woman here, who believes in everything's collectivist. It all has to be based on group. Everything has to be seen as a group versus group struggle. You don't want to live your life like that. Trust me, you don't want to. And in fact, you don't have to trust me. Trust somebody else. Go and speak to people who grew up in the former Soviet Union or those bloc countries. Here in England, we have a lot of people from former Soviet countries. Very good people. People from Poland, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, Slovakia, the Czech Republic, Germany, Belgium, Luxembourg, France. We have Romania. Okay, we have all of these people here, and they will all tell you that collectivist thinking is not a good idea. Everyone like a herd, just herd. You get one shepherd who leads the flock, and everyone else is expected to just go bah, or whatever noise a sheep makes. I think that was probably the poorest sheep noise you've probably ever heard. But that's the noise a collectivist sheep makes anyway.
As a result, we tend to pathologize interdependent ways of relating, calling families who are super close enmeshed or codependent.
All word salad. What she's doing, this is and I've mentioned this before in my videos. What she's doing is the classic woke tactic of using very big words, semantics, to mask her intentions, to fool you. Maybe she thinks that you're stupid enough that if you use lots of big words, you will just agree because you don't want to look stupid. Let's be honest, sometimes that happens. Sometimes people go, oh yeah, absolutely, I agree. And even if you don't agree, sometimes people do that. And that is a very common tactic by people who will use words that are just, it's over the top. Let's go back and listen to that again, that segment again.
Ways of relating, calling families who are super close enmeshed or codependent.
It's hard to even understand what she's talking about. Calling families who are super close enmeshed or codependent. I mean, are you saying families who are super close are codependent? Is that a bad thing? Families relying on each other? That's what families do. They rely on each other. But what has that got to do with supremacy? Supremacy. It just...
Or codependent. We tend to overlook contextual factors, such as the fact that marginalized populations live in oppressive systems, which absolutely affect their mental health.
So, we tend to overlook contextual factors, such as the fact that this word marginalized really irritates me. If anything, the most marginalized community in United States, Canada, Australia, and England would be the Christian population. They are marginalised beyond belief. They get no special bonuses. They get pillared in the press. They get arrested out in the street for preaching. I did a video on that myself. Look at Canada at the moment. Churches. What's happening to churches? What's happening to Christian statues? Traditional Christian values. If there's anyone who's marginalised, it's them.
Functioning. Follow for part 2 and more content on decolonizing mental health.
And there you go. Decolonizing mental health. This is someone who's looking for a problem, okay? This is somebody who has a problem themselves. If you've came to the conclusion that mental health is colonized, right, which is an absurd concept in itself. How do you colonize mental health? How do you do it? Has somebody set up a castle in your head? Has someone set up a block in your head? And they say, well that belongs to me now. I'm going to dictate terms to you. It doesn't work like that. This is somebody who has a problem with me, with you, with your background, with my background. Of course she can't just admit that. So she comes up with stuff like this. This is somebody who they live in a modern world. And let's face it, a lot of the things we take for granted in the modern world came from the West. We led the world fantastically. If we were alive 2,000 years ago, we would be praising the Roman Empire. If we were alive 3,000 years ago, we would be praising the Persian Empire. If we were alive 4,000 years ago, we'd be praising the Proto-Babylonian Empire. It's just because we are alive at this time. And over the last century, 2 centuries, since the Industrial Revolution and everything that's happened, I'm afraid to say it's countries like England and the United States that have led the way. And if you have a problem with that, that's your problem. But you don't have to use all of the technology we've gifted you. We're not asking you to say thank you for it. But I personally would ask you to stop with this rubbish, because it's helping nobody. It just divides people. If you think this is a problem, then you have the problem. You know, and oh look, it's TikTok. She's got Doctor on her name, Dr. Hanren. Would you trust Dr. Hanren? What is her doctorate? I'd like to know. What did she major in? But look, I just wanted to show you this, man, because it's like these hoaxes, the you-know-what hoaxes we've seen since Mr. Smollett, and as he's often referred to, Juicy. Mr. Juicy and his hoax in, I think it was Chicago, wasn't it? And now you have things like this. People are trying to create their... These people wanted to be oppressed. They wanted to be. But because you're not doing to them what they wanted you to do, they have to create their own problems. They have to invent it, to hoax it. So I'll leave it there. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section below. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.